What's going on, world? Welcome to another edition of the Black Mental Health Podcast. I'm your host, Reg. And today, this week I'm having some special guests. I say I always got a special guest, but this week in particular, I'm having some very, very special guests. It's people around me that have been on this mental health journey that I've been on. And I get to talk to the people that have impacted me in a lot of ways and shaped the individual that I am. So today's guest, and again,
dun, dun, dun.
and I don't know which order I'm putting this in. So I don't know if this is the first or the second. And I don't know who you heard so far, but they all are close people to me. But today's guest, she's a highly esteemed.
Get the heck out of here.
So now today's guest is my love of my life, the mother of my children, the confidant. She holds all my secrets. She knows where the dead bodies are buried. We are engaged to get married. That's to be announced. Or what is the one where you don't know? To be determined. TBD.
TBD.
That's to be determined. Without further ado, her name today is Alissa Rhodes, but in a few, it's going to be Alissa Howard, my fiance.
Oh, thank you.
Like that introduction?
I did. It was nice. Hey, y'all.
I got to big people up, make them feel good,
Make them feel welcome.
You got to feel good when you start to get in their business.
Ciao, please.
So, where to start with my fiance? So, a lot of people don't know if you this is for people who have followed me from my last podcast to this one, and on our last podcast or my last podcast that I was a part of, it was a relationship podcast with my fiance, and we were talking about Black love, which is a contribution to mental health as well, just understanding the different variations of things that can happen within a relationship. But so we started that podcast to understand relationships, using our relationship as a barometer to understand Black love and just relationships in general. But unfortunately, we had to stop it because we had got pregnant with our 1-year-old son. He's one, right?
Yes. You are ridiculous.
Listen, I don't keep up with birthdays.
Don't know no ages, no sizes.
I know it. I know when he's born, June 15th, 2018.
Yes. But you barely even got that out.
Because I was going to say 12 because I'm so used to talking about our oldest son who was born 11/27/2012.
Correct.
So I know the dates of my kids, but I just...
he can't do the math in between.
I don't like doing the math. So she was pregnant with our youngest child, and we had to take a break from the podcast, and we're going to still probably do it, but do it differently because now we were a relationship Then we was a relationship podcast. Now we're a family. We're probably going to be a Black family now because that got so many different dynamics. We was two kids trying to raise a young boy, and now we're grown people trying to raise a family.
Right.
So we'll probably bring that back then. It'll be in connection with the mental health and everything that I'm already doing. But I say that to say, because we're going to see what she talk about. Because she said, I'm not talking about myself, but she's going to talk about something. So people don't know, and y'all, we won't get too far into detail about it, because we want to save some stuff for the actual next thing that we do together. But after she had our youngest child, she went through a battle with postpartum depression, and so when we had our first son, I used to joke with her all the time about like, are you battling postpartum? You going through postpartum? You going through postpartum? And she was like, no, I'm not going through. And honestly, and you could talk about that too as well. I don't even know if you actually did go through that the first time with Zion.
It's so hard because you never really know, like, your emotions. First of all, as a woman, your emotions is all over the place in the first place. Mm-hmm. So when you telling me like I'm going through postpartum depression, you were probably right, but I just couldn't recognize it at the time. So to me, it was like an insult. Like, no, I'm not tripping. Like, I ain't going through nothing. I had a baby. I can handle myself or whatever. But I realized that was that king. I actually was going through postpartum depression. Like, I was sad all the time. Like, first of all, I was fat. Like I done gained like 20, 30 pounds within the pregnancy. And then I wasn't working because of the maternity leave and having to be home with the baby for the first few months. Because I just remember telling you like, yo, like I'm just in this house with this crying baby while you out trying to get money, you know, to make sure we got a roof over our head while I'm on my maternity leave. And I'm just seeing these blue walls every damn day or whatever. So it was just difficult. And then not only that, but you have like I still got to worry about Zion. So it's like now I'm a mother of two. Like it just was a lot. Like it just was a lot trying to like manage both. And Zion, he was the only child for 6 years. So now you bring this other baby in, and you're trying to make sure that you're being fair. And then the little baby crying and just needing extra attention. Like it just was a lot going on.
No, I believe it. And I guess my follow-up question with that would be, why don't you think, and I think we talked about it a little bit, but why don't you think women like feel confident in saying that? Like you said, like you were saying, like, yo, I got it. Like, no, I'm handling it. And it's like such a, I guess, like bad thing.
I guess because we're so used to stepping in the role of just having everything on lock. So when we don't have things under control, is it's just hard to admit. Like, it's no other ways of putting it. Like, as far as, like, you don't even know your kids' clothes sizes. You know what I mean? Like, some people be calling you, asking you, like, yo, what size do Zion wear? What size do Zakeem wear? And you like, yo, wrong parent. So, having to deal with, like, that and making sure that, like, making sure they eating, because if it's up to you, they eating snack. Like, we just got a lot of stuff, like, on our plate. So, when we kind of do need the help, it's like, I don't know if I should ask, because even if I ask, would you be able to deliver what I need you to deliver? And it's like, you know what? Nah, I got it. Ain't nothing wrong with me. Like, I'm gonna hold it down until I can't hold it down no more, and then you crashing.
That's true.
So I don't know. I just think that it's just we are in control of so much within our lives that it's hard to kind of like let that control go. So by you telling me like, yo, I think something is going on with your behavior or your emotions, I'm not trying to hear it. I got stuff to do.
And I know with us transitioning from one child to two parents, raising a family, and making it work and battling our own personal issues and things like that. I know one of the things that plays a part, and that's even still to this day. So it's not even like we got over it. Like, we still battle with it, and I know I battle with it every day. Seeing our peers who are in the same age group, I don't want to say living their life, but not having the responsibility of the children and how it can, or children, to have having the responsibility of a child and raising a family, and going out there, and it can make you depressed because you're on the outside looking in.
Absolutely. There were plenty of times where I had to delete my Instagram because I'm looking at myself like, yo, like, I had to grow up so fast. Like, we had Zion. It just felt like I left school, and then a few months afterwards, we were pregnant with Zion. And I'm like, okay, cool. At first we managing, but now years are going past, and we're not even realizing that it's a couple of years until we 30. Literally a couple of years until 30. So within all of my 20s, I've been a mother. So while I'm on Instagram watching people, experience like going on vacations, going out for drinks, doing this and doing that, the sacrifice was kind of getting to me. And then not to mention, at least with the first 6 years of Zion, and even now, he is selfish. Like, my baby don't, like, it's like, no, give, and I wasn't necessarily feeling the love from him. So it's like, I'm making all of this sacrifices for you. Like, I mean, like, spending my last, or, even getting up every day to go to work, like, trying not to call out as much as possible, or whatever it is that I feel like I'm sacrificing, and you unappreciative. And then I don't even know what possessed us to have another one, but then we throw another one in the group. So it was like, yo, I feel like I didn't miss out on so much, and I haven't necessarily reaped the benefits of it. Like, yes, I get to, wake up with my children and have bonding time with them. But if we being frank or being completely honest, like, sometimes I be on some like, yo, that don't matter. That don't matter, because now when I look back 40 years from now, if you ain't taking care of me, then what did I do it for? You know what I mean? Skipping out on trips and vacations, and
just being able to be a young 20-year-old out there. And we just was talking about the other day, like, fear of missing out, and not being able to see, like, enjoy what, because I had Demetrius on, and you guys can check out that episode, and we talked about like how our friends are, or our peers are not, they're living their lives, but are they actually doing what they need to be doing?
Mm-hmm.
And actually, now that I look back on that episode, because I agree, like a lot of people, you look at it from a different point of view when you're not in it.
Mm-hmm.
They're just living their lives, and we were saying, like, are they doing anything really? And then when you look back on it, it's like, are you only saying that because and mind you, I agree with that, his position,
Mm-hmm.
but are we only saying that because we're not afforded that opportunity?
Right, being a hater. Like, let's put it in layman's terms, being a hater. Like, I mean, I don't really know. Like, I think that I won't mind sacrificing my 20s for my children. One, I love them dearly. Like, let me put that out there. I love my kids. And again, I would do anything for them. But I think that ultimately, if I will be able, or if we're able to perform the lifestyle that I feel like, is worth giving to them,
Right.
then it'll all be worth it. Like, so even like making the sacrifices is cool, but it's, that slow grind where you like putting in the time, or it's like you don't want certain family members or friends watching them because you just feel like, yo, can't nobody do it better than me. Like, or it's like, yo, or you don't know what they're gonna be doing. Like, you just know that they're safe with you. So like, listen, I just need the sacrifice to be worth it. Like,
nah, that's
and
true.
and regardless of what our friends and other family members are doing, I ain't hating. Live your life. Do what you gotta do.
Nah, and I tell my friends all the time, like, I lived through them, so I'm excited when they're doing stuff because I felt like I did it, or I know I would have been doing it
had we had not had the responsibility of being parents.
Right. So I like find enjoyment in their enjoyment, if it makes sense.
Nah, you happy for your friends, as you should be.
I'm not about to be like, oh, they just wasted money at Coachella. Like, no, have fun. Go
they
ahead.
Went to New York for the day.
Right. They get you get to go to New York for the weekend, and,
right.
and you just came back from Atlanta last week.
Come on, bitter Betty. Stop it.
But we talking about responsibilities, and I know a lot of the times we have men in our community who neglect their responsibilities, and people. You guys are here to podcast. If you didn't hear it already, the one with my dad, and how we had to rebuild our relationship, or still rebuilding our relationship, and how that transpired with us in current day. But for yourself, I know we all the time. Once I started reaching out to my dad, I suggested, like, no, you should reach out to yours and, figure out what happened, what's going on, why he wasn't present. Because we're two fatherless children, basically, who grew up with our mothers most of our lives, or you all of your life, and not having that father presence. And I know you were battling and struggling because the way mine's turned out is turning out way different than yours turned out. It's two different people. It's two different situations. I haven't asked you about it in a while, but we talked about it. But like, how do you feel, like, in general about the situation itself?
This portion of the podcast is brought to you by the Verisock Co. The Verisock offers the most unique and stylish products on the market. They provide products that are bold, adventurous, and express confidence. Their products are meant to draw attention and stand out from the norm. They are creative socks for those who aspire to stand out. They are a combination of comfort and expression for the modern individual. The Verisock Co. is a trend-setting accessory line retailer offering unique designs that can be worn on any occasion. Whether you're dressing for a boardroom or the boardwalk, they have a design for you. The founder is actually my college roommate, Jabril Hart. I can vouch that you're getting quality products and excellent service from just spending time with him and knowing the type of guy he is. He was also on episode 3 of the Black Mental Health Podcast, so go check that out to hear more of his story and what he has going on. For more information about Jabril Hart or Diversock Co., check out Diversock Co., DeVersocks.com. Sorry, it was so many sock, whatever, but check them out, and I can vouch for them. Tell them Reg sent you. This portion of the podcast is brought to you by My Violin Weighs a Ton. My Violin Weighs a Ton is the realization of a unique vision that hip-hop artist and mental health advocate Archie Green crafted and is bringing to life in order to engage, educate, and inspire a new generation. Archie also understands the power of music and how it can be used to overcome obstacles, deal with painful experiences, and even help individuals cope with mental illness. The students participating in this project are a part of the Cleveland Metropolitan School District, which according to a 2017 CDC study are leading the nation in suicide rates, while 2 in every 10 high schoolers having attempted suicide in 2015. That is big. Wow. In January 2019, Archie and his mental health advocacy group, Peel Them Layers Back, was granted the opportunity to bring My Violin Ways a Ton to life. For the 4-month-long performance project, Archie and Peel Them Layers Back have partnered with Lexington Bell Community Center, which is an urban youth educational center located in the historic Cleveland neighborhood of Ho. I hope I pronounced that right. To support, head over to the GoFundMe.com/MVWAT 2019. The link will be in the description of this podcast, and make sure to let them know you heard them first on the Black Mental Health Podcast.
It hurts honestly because I'm not the type of person that opens up much. So
Y'all hear what I go through?
I don't. Like, I put a lot on Reggie's plate. Like, Reggie is my fiance, he's my brother, he's my friend, he's my confidant. Like, he is everything to me, and I feel bad. Like, I want to relieve some of that pressure from him, but it's like I don't like really trust people with my feelings. And I think that the relationship with I wouldn't even call it a relationship with my father, because it's non-existent. But I reached out, like, you know what I mean? Like, I found him on Facebook. I sent the picture to my mom and my grandmom asking if that was him. They confirmed that it was, and I wrote him a message. I just said, "Hey, I believe." And he wrote back, "Hey, daughter." And I just remember crying, like, because I didn't know if he knew me. I didn't know if he remembered me, what I looked like, because the last time I had seen my dad, I was 15, and my mom had took me up to the prison to go see him. And I remember his mother and his youngest daughter was there, and we were behind her, ironically. And when my mom went to go say, "Yeah, we're here to see John Wise," she like turned around, like, "And who are you?" So my mom ready to get crunk, like, "Well, who are you?" or whatever. I'm like, "Lord Jesus." And so she's like, "Well, I'm his mother, and this is his daughter." So my mom was like, "Well, this is his daughter." I'm just like, I don't know where this is going or whatever. But we ended up going in and meeting for the first time. And when I met him, like, I just cried because I had never seen that man before. Like, I seen him for the first time at 15. So fast forward, after that, he was, making false promises. You know how men do when they in jail or whatever. He was making false promises to be in my life. And fell short. So when I had found him on Facebook, that's when I like reached out, and he knew who I was. But it kind of like didn't go anywhere.
And he sent you a message, and you probably don't remember everything that he wrote, but it was kind of like he didn't know where you were coming from with
right.
it.
And I think that that's where it was, where he was kind of like, "Well, I haven't been around. Like, I don't know if you probably coming for money. Like, I don't really have nothing to give you." So he was kind of playing it safe. But it just wasn't the reaction that I was looking for. Like, it was as if I was talking to a stranger.
Right.
But I still tried to stay in communication. I think it was either Thanksgiving or Christmas when I had texted him, "Hey." And so I always try to follow up on holidays, like, just because I feel like that's probably like the best opener for me, is just hitting them up on a holiday.
She
like,
ain't hit them up these holidays.
It gives me an excuse. But after a while, it just kind of like fell dead. Like, I think the last message that I had sent them,
he sent you like a little Facebook thing this year.
Yeah, it was like like a chain letter.
Right.
Like, how special was that? You
Right.
sent this to 15 other people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it just seems like he just was not trying to build.
Right.
And so I got tired of it.
Right.
Like, you know what? Like, I'm sitting here coming out of my way or coming out of the, like, how I really feel because I didn't do anything to you. Like, you walked out on me.
Right.
And I'm still trying to like go above my emotions and reach out to you, and you just like basically giving me your ass to kiss.
Right.
So after a while, I just was like, "Yo, whatever, like, I don't care." And I remember one of the last messages, I forgot what I said. Maybe I was like hitting him up on a holiday, and it was just real brief. And the last thing he said was, "All right, I'm gonna talk to you, Game of Thrones on."
It's not even funny.
So Game of Thrones is more important than building a relationship with your daughter.
Right.
So I just was like, you know what? Like, I'm just over it. Like, I think if God willing, he gets like something overcomes him and it's like, yo, let me reach out to my daughter. Like, I will always be open.
Receptive.
But as far as me like reaching out to him, it's not going to happen. Like, I'm done.
Yeah, and I'm done forcing it because a lot of the times it's me forcing the issue because I just want stuff to be resolved, or not even stuff to be resolved. I know she has unanswered questions, and I don't like I always attack elephants in the room. Like, I don't like mysterious, wondering. Like, I'm very direct with stuff. Like, and y'all hear my mom, if y'all ain't heard it already, or y'all going to hear, I get that from her. Like, yo, let's be direct. Let's not tiptoe around it. So I'm like, all right, you wondering about your dad, reach out, but I'm not going to push it because it got to be a two-way street.
Exactly. I just feel like they say that sometimes you'll reach out and you'll get the answers that you're looking for with time. He just wasn't ready. Like,
right.
I really don't know. I can't put my finger on why we weren't able. And mind you, we're talking about years.
Right.
It has been at least between 2 to 4 years. I can't really remember the gaps, but it's been a while. Like, I'm not. It ain't like I just gave him a month to get it together. Like, I have gave him time to like reach out or not even feel guilty, but to just care. Like,
right. And he close too. That was the thing that was hard with me and my dad building, was that he was in a whole different state. Y'all heard he say 500 miles. That's literally how far he is away from me. And so, and her dad is in Jersey, like right over the bridge in Philly.
He was somewhere in Camden, I think, but whatever. Like, I don't even care. Like, I try not to think about it because when you really start to think about the situation, you start to get emotional because you think that it's something wrong with me. Because mind you, when I was 15 and I went to go see him, his daughter, who was maybe about 5 or 6 years younger than me, she was there. She knew her father. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know him. And even till this day, I don't think that they're in communication because the mother done moved on and, you know, she's with another partner. But if it was up to him, he would probably still be in communication with my little sister. So it's like, it's whatever. Like, it's done.
Nah, see, that's why I'm done pushing it. But so for our stories, and she working on some stuff behind the scenes too, guys. But I catalyzed it. No, that's not the word. I put my story and journey with my father as well in my book, Suffering into Success. It's out now, guys. Go check it out. And she was a major part in the development of that book, because for one, she had to give me the time to like write it. I was writing that book through movies, spending time together, just had the laptop on my lap, still writing through it and just trying to make it come to life. And she even got a paragraph in there, and she don't even remember writing it. So she got a paragraph in there, but she read it, wrote through it. I just want you to touch on a little bit, like what your perspective of the book is. Like, how do you feel about it?
Well, I love the book, but because he was writing it and brainstorming and, you know, asking me questions about it, it was like, I felt like even before I had read it, I had already knew it because I've been heard that book throughout the whole journey of him writing it. But honestly, I just think that it like, I can't even put it in words. Like, when I had first like really read like the finishing touches, like the baby of it, like from front to back, like I was so proud of him because I didn't know where it was going to go. Like, I didn't seen the process of, he had too much of the story with him and his mother in there, and it was like, all right, now I'm gonna cut half of that out to, you know, summon it down. Like, it just worked out so perfectly. And I think that in a sense, when I had read it, it helped me too, because we battle, like, or especially me, all the time, where it's like the struggles be getting in the way of what I want to do. So when I had read the book, I was like, hey, like,
it's a good book.
No, and it really was, as far as like just letting you know, like, yo, this is not the end all be all of your journey. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna have to go through like the trials and the tribulations, and even put in references in there of as far as like who he read in order to get on the journey. So I just think that it was very informative, like, and
no, I appreciate it. Amazing. I'm glad you was proud of it.
Yeah.
It was one of my best things that I've done within the last year. Even with this podcast, I'm so happy how it turned out. She was in the process of seeing that, because I dropped the podcast, or I put the podcast, the first episode out when our son was born, like right after our son was born. So that came out in July. The book came out in November, and then I started speaking in December. So she was right there along the journey and the growth of everything. And then unfortunately, that's when things got a little shooken up.
Not funny.
It wasn't. You can look back on it now and just think about how like wild life is. But I know it was one of the most traumatizing things that happened on this relationship. Like because it shook our whole world up. We were grinding. We was in our regular day to day, and of course, everything impacts everybody differently. So you heard I call you. I was on that night. I call you playing around. We just got gas. I don't know why my throat like this, but just got gas. And I'm like, babe, I'm on my way home. We joking, regular night, 12. That was probably like 12 o'clock. And then the car accident happened at 12:27 while I was on my way home. Now, take it from your perspective as you got the call from the girl, because you thought the girl was playing at first.
This portion of the podcast is brought to you by Spread the Good Communications. Spread the Good Communications offers copywriting, editing, planning, and consulting services to help businesses and nonprofits share who they are, what they do, and why it's valuable. The mission of Spread the Good is helping people who serve the well-being of communities, families, and individuals to engage their audience and build relationships. You may have the right solutions to offer your audience, but your success is limited without effective messages and stories about your work. Shelley Williams is the creator of Spread the Good Communications. She loves using the power of words to make a positive impact in people's lives. Here's a testimonial from Sharika on her website. Shelley has been a great asset to my company and played a vital role in implementing effective communication strategies for my target audience. She is able to quickly understand and complete work that delivers a clear and detailed message. If you're ready to get better results with engaging your ideal audience, visit spreadthegoodcoms.com/services and reach out to Shelly and tell her Reg sent you. I can 100% vouch for her. She's been nothing but great for me and the work that we've done. If you guys like my book, Suffering Success, A Paradigm Shift for Struggle to Achieve Happiness, you'll definitely know that she was the person who edited my book. And if you like, you guys like the way the flow of my book went, you can get a living proof of example of her work. So go check out Spread the Good Communications and tell Shelly Rad sent you. And go get a copy of Suffering Success while you're out. This portion of the podcast is brought to you by the Worthy Lifestyle app. Are you looking for mental health support, education, and resources? Are you lacking self-esteem to elevate? Are you looking for a way to handle the childhood trauma you're not talking about? Are you sad, angry, or just all over the place emotionally? If so, download the Worthy Lifestyle app. The Worthy Lifestyle app provides mental health education, resources, and support. Learn how to become the best version of yourself. Before you can win, you have to believe you're worthy. Download the Worthy Lifestyle app and tell them Brad sent you. I had a chance to meet the creator and the owner and the operator, and she's an amazing person. We actually are in the talks of doing big things together, especially for the mental health community. So I'm in so full support of what she's doing with this app, and I highly recommend it because it's an amazing tool for people that say therapy and all of these things are expensive and they don't know where to start. So the Worthy Lifestyle app is definitely a place to give you that start, and it might be the place that you call home for a while. So go download the app and tell them Brad sent you.
Right. So I'm gonna even start from you calling me. So
Right.
usually while he was like at work driving or whatever, we'll talk on the phone and we was just busting it up, like just chilling on some regular, just I want you on your way home, cool. I don't know if you trying to pass the time, whatever, but we just gonna talk. He was on his way, hang up the phone. Not even 20 minutes later, I get a phone call, but I look on the phone. I'm like, yo, I don't know this number. I don't answer numbers that I don't know or whatever. So I didn't answer. Or I don't remember if she had to call twice. She had to call twice.
Yeah, because she said it called you once and you're like, yo, wait. Oh, no, you didn't. Cause she did have to call twice because you said, yo, something just made you answer.
Yeah, because that's what made me stop. Because something something just told me to answer the phone, but I think I let it ring for a couple of rings before it was like, yo, just pick it up, because mind you, I had just got off the phone with you, and then I remember you had locked the keys in the car one time.
Oh yeah, that's why you
So
answered.
I think I was like, yo, you know what? This might be Reg. He in Jersey. He getting gas. Like this. Let me just see what's going on. And she like, yeah, your fiance, he's been in a car accident at Fifth and Albany, and it's real bad. It's real bad. I'm like, wait, what? Like, she didn't say hello. She didn't say nothing. She just started giving me the details immediately when I picked up the phone. So it took me a minute to like register what she was saying. I'm like, wait, what? Is this a joke? Like, and then he be playing too much.
Yeah.
Like, I remember a time where you called my job acting like you was in the hospital. So now you got the little boy who cried wolf.
Listen, guys.
So,
she's talking about years ago.
It
that
don't
wasn't
matter.
recently. I was a child. Because I'm like, yo, why are you playing like that? You grown man playing around like that. That was like 4 or 5 years ago, y'all.
No, but like we was in our early 20s or whatever when he did play that little prank. But mind you, he plays too much. Like, this is just his character. Like, he doesn't really take anything seriously or whatever. So I'm just like, yo, like, what? Ma'am. So she like, no, like, this is not a joke. Like, this is serious. Like, he was in a car accident and we at Fifth and Albany. So I hear him in the background like, babe, I'm messed up. And so the fact that he was like, I just really did not know what was going on.
And I ain't say, babe, I'm messed up. I said, babe, I'm fucked up.
No, he did, but I ain't want to curse, y'all. But that's what he said. So I'm like, yo, is this a joke? Like, what the hell is going on? But she just kept, and I heard it in her voice, like, whoever this was, heaven sent, God, angel, I don't know who you are, but thank you so much for being in that area at that time, because I don't know what would have happened had you had not been there. So I'm so thankful for you being there. But I just heard like the seriousness in her voice. So I get off the phone with her, and I'm frantic because, mind you,
that's the only car we had.
That was the only vehicle we had. I'm at home with Zion and our newborn. So, or not newborn, he probably was like 6 months at the time, but he's still young. And so I'm like, yo, I don't know what the hell to do. So I call his mom, and she's not picking up. But even still, with her not picking up, I'm like, yo, she don't have no car, so she can't help me. So the first person that came to mind was one of his homies, Ant.
Yeah,
and
y'all know Ant. He was on the
podcast before. So y'all probably familiar with him. But I call him, and he picked up immediately. And I was like, yo, Ant, like, I don't know what's going on. Reggie was in the accident at Fifth and Albany. Like, can you please pick me up? Like, can you just come? And he was like, yo, say no more. I'm about to be there. When I say, like, by the time I was putting, like, coats on the kids, because they was leaving their pajamas on. All I had to do was find some socks and get their coats, and we was going to be out. He was knocking on the door. And I was like, well, damn, that was fast, but thank God. So his lady ended up watching our kids, and we ended up going to the scene. I'm running across the boulevard. Like, I'm not even looking. I just see ambulance. I ended up seeing the car and how damaged it was. So I'm just like, yo, where is he? Where is he? So cops trying to calm me down. Like, ma'am, you have to relax. Like, who are you looking for? I'm like, Reginald Howard. He was in a black car or whatever. And I actually it was 2 ambulances. I got a glimpse in one of them, and one of the passengers was like bloody and just bad. So I'm like, whoa, if she looking like that, like, where he at? So now I'm even more frantic because I'm like, I just didn't know anything. And that's like one of the worst feelings in the world, not knowing. Like, I didn't know nothing. And so the cop just was like, well, he's in this ambulance, the second ambulance, but he was like, you can't ride with him because it was somebody else in there with him or whatever. So I'm like, well, what hospital is he going to?
Don't say the hospital.
Oh.
Because we've been bashing them, and I don't want to get them.
Right. So I'm trying to figure out, like, what hospital he going to. They spare that information. And then we're on our way to the hospital, and it was other people that was in the hospital that was involved in the accident, and they were like leaving out after like 30 minutes to an hour. Like, I see them rolling out, and I'm still sitting there. Like, me and Aunt just still sitting there, and I'm like, yo, like, oh my God, my nerves were so bad, y'all. Like, it was too much. So eventually a doctor had came out and was like,
hold on, pause this story. But that when I sent her with the message, all right. So what's the first thing? Mind you, the scene is they all frantic. They didn't have no information, and they didn't have no information. So I'm like, pass this message to my fiance, and you could take it from me.
Oh, if he was not just in a car accident, I would have beat his ass. So I'm sitting there for hours with no news. Nobody told me nothing. I keep getting up. I'm asking questions. They passing me along, no information. The doctor finally come out and she like, yeah, so I have a message from him. He said, can you pay the phone bill? He don't want it to be cut off.
Hey, she been getting on me for about 2 months because I used to pay the phone bill late. And I'm like, I only had till like 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock that night of the accident. And I was going to pay it when I got to the house. And I'm like, shoot. Like, but mind you, that's how you know I don't even know. Like, I'm not even, like, caring about what I'm going through. All I'm worried about
is the damn phone bill.
I'm like, this the wrong
like,
time.
Are you serious? And she must have seen my face, or like maybe I stopped breathing when she came up to me because she was like, oh no, like he's fine, like he's good. You know, we're just waiting to get another CAT scan or something or whatever. And I guess I finally like took a breath because I'm like, really? Like this is what he want to tell you at a time like this? But my ass paid it though. I paid it or whatever, and then eventually, like before they was gonna go take him to go get that scan to make sure that they held it in place before he needed surgery. They was like, we have a window where you can go back and go see him. So I was able to go back and go see him, and when I seen him, he had like a scrape on his head. His hand was messed up. His leg, and it was like blood everywhere. It was just like horrible. Like like I can't even talk about it because it's so scary getting a call like that where they say like, yo, cherish your loved ones because at any minute they could be gone. Like it was crazy. Like I just got off the phone with him and 20 minutes later he was in an accident. And then a few hours later, I'm sitting here looking at him on this table with broken bones and scrapes on his face. Like, what? Like that shit was crazy. But I was scared to give him kisses, but I gave him like little light taps or whatever. And eventually like the doctor had came in to go take him where he needed to go. Like no family members or anybody could go back there with him. So I ended up going home for a few hours. But even while going home, like I could not rest. Like I just kept calling his mom. And finally she had called me back and I was able to give her the news or whatever. And I guess she had called Gina, your sister, or whatever, and we just went from there. But I never went back to sleep. So we talking like all these
12 o'clock last night when I talked to you the first time.
Like I never went back to sleep. Like I think I had some business to handle the next day. I was like, yo, I'm not doing it. I'm sitting here like, yo, mom, I'm like calling everybody. That's basically what I was doing, was like calling all of the family members that I could get in touch with about what was going on. And my mom came through, my grandmom came through, like babysat or whatever, so that way I could go and be with you,
be back and forth at the hospital. Now I want to try to get our oldest on here, but I tried to talk to him about it last night and it wasn't going too good. I don't want to talk about it. I don't even want to think about it. So
seriously, like it's crazy. Like I can't even explain it. Like and for me, like I'm the only child, so I'm like very territorial and just very selfish and just very like, and not even talking about like when I love, I love hard, but I'm talking about like materialistic and just thinking about all of that shit. Like when I say, I'm sorry for cursing, when I say I did not care about that car, y'all, I'm like, yo, like where is he at? Like that shit is heartbreaking. Like I don't know, like I'm just so grateful. Like, and I see where Zion is coming from when he say he can't even talk about it, because it's a time that I would never wish this on any enemy, like anybody. Like my kids could have been without a father, you know what I mean? And you never, like sometimes you take it for granted on a day-to-day because you just living and you just going through life, but that shit is serious. Like I think that was like a whole new like outlook on our family. Like I don't take him for granted. Like I think that before I even ask him to do anything, it's like, yo, you good? Like you up for it? Like how you feeling? Like, just putting certain things into consideration that I never probably would have put into effect before.
Right.
Like before it's just like, all right, whatever, you my man, I don't care, just do it. But now it's like, no, like that's your man, but since you almost lost him, so make sure he's straight.
So you get the information. We in the hospital for a week on then. She was the nurse, but mind you, she still had to work. She still had to be a mother. She still had to do, mind you, now she still had to do those things without me there. So now it's like double dosage of working, running back and forth from the hospital, going to the kids, making sure they straight. Just a bunch of like
it just was a lot. I think that within that situation, like it really built character on my end, because coming from the space of, you know, the household that I came from, I was very dependent on Reggie. Like, I depended on him for everything, and not in the sense of like, you know, finances and all of that stuff, but just in regards to like, yo, what you think about this? Should I do this? Are you good?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Just like I wasn't really that headstrong, like, yo, I got everything. Like
it's like your body, like you got your left hand and your right hand. You can function fine without one of your hands, but you used to having both of them.
Right, exactly. So when that situation happened, and it's like, wait, I gotta do what? Like, I'm trying to make sure everything is in order with like insurance, and you know, he just was in an accident, like the car didn't go away, so now you got to deal with that type of stuff. Mind you, you got your kids to worry about, and they couldn't spend the night at the hospital, so you got to make sure that, you know, they're situated. And fortunately enough, I was on break at the time,
right?
So I didn't go back to work until I think the day
Christmas.
You was being released,
right?
So that was a good thing, that I had the time to be able to like move around and get everything in order and situated for you.
Right. No, and like I said, I'm grateful for it, because I know people lives could stop. Like certain people not afforded that opportunity where people lives can stop and then be there to nurture you and stuff like that. So I'm grateful, and I, like I said to everybody else, I love you and appreciate you for being there, because and it sounds bad, but it's the truth. Nobody has to do anything for you. It's not a requirement. We're not married. Like, you hear what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to do it. But the fact that people took time, because time is our precious commodity, people took time out to just sit and just bait. Because mind you, I ain't want no. I'm a baby, so I ain't really want nobody doing stuff for me. For one, for being a man, and for two, like, I can't even eat my pills like how everybody eat their pills. So people had to literally, like, men was spoon feeding me like food and everything, and because I couldn't use my arms, and one arm was messed up, so I couldn't use it. And mind you, the other arm had the IV in it, so
some needles and cords and stuff.
So I couldn't do nothing with my hands. So I was just grateful for all the people that just supported and went through that time with me. But I know one of the, I don't want to say traumatizing, but one of the things that like we were going through too was it was a lot of pressure on you, as far as, like you said it, but I mean, even talk about the transition from moving, all of that stuff, because mind you, I'm when we move in and we got to do stuff, I'm usually the coordinator. I set up my friends coming to get us. We were about to move out of our apartment. It happened in December. Our lease was up in February, so we was about to move in January. And so talk about that transition of me being in the hospital, then getting transferred to my mom house, and you having to coordinate moving our apartment by yourself.
And that's what I mean by you not realizing like how much a person actually means to you. So like Reggie handles all of that. Like, he's the driver. He's the, you know, set everything up as far as physically moving stuff, or, you know, just, I hate to be sexist, but like all the manly stuff, you know what I mean? So when you're missing that man and you ain't used to doing it, child, I was stressed out. Like, it was so difficult. Like, I had to literally, we were in the process of not, well, the accident, like he said, happened in December. We were due to move in February. We had not even packed anything up because we felt that we still had that month of January to get everything, you know, boxed up and moving. So I had to start from square one. So I'm making sure like you're cool while you're home or whatever, like, cause your mom worked, she got a job. So it's like, yo, are you straight? So then we gotta, and I'm by myself. So luckily for your friends, because I would have never made it. I'm in here trying to like figure out, and listen, I'm a hoarder. Like, so with him, I know that it probably wouldn't have been half of that stuff in that U-Haul in our storage unit, but because it's like, I don't know what he gonna need, and he not here to be able to tell me what he wants, so I'm packing everything up. But we had my mom came through, my grandmom came through, and some of his closest friends had came through to help me out. But that process still was hard or whatever, getting all of that packed up. But fast forward, we got it done or whatever, and now we're back. But mind you, I'm back at work at this point. You can't move or whatever, and our car is total.
Right.
So how I'm getting to work and how our kids getting to school.
Yep.
So I'm literally like waking up dumb early to drop.
Nope, don't go there first. Waking up to make sure I'm cool first and I got everything that I need first.
That's a fact. But we would set you up at night, like kind of make sure like you had your applesauce, you had your pills, you was taking your Marilax, like all of that stuff that you needed to take to get you right, so that you had like the proper setup or whatever. And then and I'm so thankful for the spouse that I'm with or partner that I'm with, because he made it so easy, or at least try to make it so easy. Like, yo, it was times where he'd be like, yo, don't even worry about me. Like, I know you got the kids. Like, I'm cool. Like, I'm straight. And it's like, all right, no, like I got you. But sometimes, especially because I wasn't used to being in both roles, it was some moments where you would get neglected because I would have to do for Zion and Zakim.
And that's where I was leading at right there. Because even me being in that position, mind you, it's a lot of emotions that I'm going through, as far as not being able to take care of myself. And she's going through all her emotions with moving, trying to make sure I'm straight. And we even got into arguments. And mind you, that's the time we supposed to be the strongest, but we getting into arguments like that. And I think sometimes that's where like couples break up, because everybody's good with each other when it's fine and dandy, but once some turmoil come in,
child peace and turmoil, like it just was crazy, because we was like in the process of moving, but now because you're in an accident, you couldn't physically do any labor or whatever. So now like your finances are, you know, in shambles or whatever, and it's just, I mean, I'm not, I know it's some single moms out there or whatever that's really doing their thing or whatever, and I applaud y'all for that. But I just know, like, just being in that span of being,
that wasn't a role you were familiar with. Like, you can do it, but it's just like,
I wasn't used to it. So I was so stressed.
Overnight.
Yeah, and I was struggling because I was so used to having those extra hands in certain areas. It was like we both had roles that we delegated.
We had
like,
a system.
Yeah, so Reggie knew what he did and I knew what I did. But when you knock like that other person out, it was like, wait, what? Like, I gotta do what? Like, I was not used to it at all. So like it just was crazy. Like, and back to the point where you said like couples break up when some hard shit happened, and it's real, because I just remember being so frustrated. And it's like, yo, this man almost lost his life. Like, you better not dare take that shit out on him, because he couldn't control it. So now I'm keeping emotions in, but I'm getting mad because it's like, yo, like, I'm doing a lot. Like, I'm doing a lot. And I know you was resting, you was getting everything up or whatever. And honestly, it wasn't personal, but it just was the amount of pressure that was on me to hold it down. Like, I'm walking 2 miles up and 2 miles back, maybe even more, to make sure that I can get Zion to school, get Zakim to daycare, and get myself on the bus, go work, come back, and do the shit all over again. And then gotta, when we get home, make sure we going over homework and having dinner and doing all that stuff, on top of making sure that you cool. I'm ripping off bandages. I'm cleaning stuff off. Like, you know what I mean? Now I'm playing nurse and mommy.
Right.
Yo, it was a lot. Like, it was a lot. But like, honestly, it made us closer.
Right.
Like, I think I became more appreciative of like our relationship, and the fact that like it could have went another way. Like, you could have not have been here with me, and I would have been doing this shit full time. At least it was only temporary.
You got to get a glimpse of like what is
right. If this was to go down or whatever, like, and eventually, like, I checked myself, like, sis, you could not be taking care of him right now at all. Like, period. He could not be here. So it was a lot of like me checking myself and getting over it, and honestly just eventually I was kind of like thankful for that or whatever, because now like you put me in a stressful situation, but now I know exactly, now I know how to handle certain things, and I know how to do certain things and kind of gain control in what you usually would do, but now I got my foot in there too.
Right.
So like
you got a taste of it.
exactly.
Just so, like when I try to cook and she don't eat.
But no, I don't.
But so I guess the last question on that, or not question, but comment, and it's more to you than the situation. So you can talk about the interpersonal feelings of how you feel about it, so that way you don't have to go into the details. We had to move back in with my mom after that whole situation. If you guys heard my mom podcast, you already know it, and it's in the book about what we went through. Just talk about your feelings, like, because when we got kicked out or whatever the case may be, it was already on the point of like bad terms, and now we got to move back in. And again, guys, we talked about it with my mom, like that whole situation. Now we like
and
on eggshells,
suffering into success.
And we just on eggshells moving back in. But I know one of the things you were already complaining about before we got kicked out was that you couldn't be a woman in another woman's house. So talk about how you felt, like the emotions that you were going through that you had to suppress to even like.
Right. So like one thing about me is I'm gonna keep my family together, and that's through any storm and any weather. Like, first of all, I'm a Libra, okay, so I'm very balanced, so I just can move to certain people's energies and just be cool. But ultimately, I did not want to come back because one, we didn't leave on good terms. I felt some type of way about, you know, even like kicking my son out. Like, forget me, like I'm an adult and I have family at the end of the day. So it was places where I could have went in that process of you kicking us out that first time. But when it came to my baby, like, you showed no remorse, no respect, no nothing when it came to him. So now coming back with another one, it was like
yeah, y'all coming back in with more,
and with another person. Like, I was kind of on the fence, but again, I'm keeping my family together. My babies only know they mommy and daddy, so it wasn't like I was gonna break that up. So coming back, I definitely was on edge or whatever, and to the point of not being able to raise your family or your children in another person's home. You can't. Like, when we was over in our apartment, it was like a unit. Like, you were the dad and I was the mom. We didn't have nobody over our heads telling us what we could and could not do, or even in regards to an opinion. So coming back, I kind of knew that was going to shift a little bit. So
it made you uneasy.
Exactly. It made me a little bit uneasy because now Zion's older. I have this new baby. I don't really want nobody telling me what to do and how to raise my kids. Like, I'm not with that. So it definitely was a humbling experience, but you know, I made it work for the sake of keeping us together. Like, that's ultimately all I was worried about, was just us being together. But I mean, I don't think nobody really want to stay at home with their people, you know what I mean, especially when
they already had a lifestyle set up.
Exactly. Like, you know, this is her home, and not even just about us, but it's just like, yo, like,
you invading somebody
else's space, and then we got kids and they loud and they messy. Baby still getting up in the middle of the night. Like, I was concerned about that. Also, I'm not trying to
impose.
Not even impose, but I'm not trying to be, you know, trying to teach my kids something or do something, and it's like, oh no, you got to do it this way. Like, you know what I mean? So it was difficult, and thank God the top of the year is coming up, so we should be moving out. But I can say that she has made this experience a little bit easier this time around.
No, it was. Shout out to my mom, because she didn't have to accept us, you know, because
especially on the terms in which we left.
Right. She didn't have to accept, man. And I'm so gracious for it, because if we were in that mind state when we first left, we probably would have been like,
because we was mad. Like, we was very, very mad. But I mean, again, considering what took place as to why we had to move back, it was such a humbling experience. Like, it was, everybody was just on some tip, like, yo, I don't even care. Like, all that bad energy, all that, I'm not talking to you because of this. Like, yo, we about to do a clean slate. Like, we don't even care about none of that shit, because my son, my brother, my fiance, my dad, he could have died. So I think with all of that going on, it just was like, yo, whatever. Like, I'm gonna try to stay out your way. Like, just heal, you know. Like, just
get back better on your feet. Get back, which I did, and I'm happy for it. Thank all praises to God. I don't know why I took him to church just now, but but in closing, as we wrap up, and you listen to the podcast, so you know, like, I ask a lot of my guests this, what are your remarks? Even what I've been doing as far as mental health, what do you feel about mental health? Any comments, questions, like anything that you feel on mental health? Like, what's your perspective of it?
I think that is definitely necessary. Is your platform is definitely needed within our community. Like you do see that it opening up a little bit more as far as like celebrities speaking on it or whatever. But just based on they can't touch everybody,
Right.
you know what I mean? Or they can, but more on like a broadcast form. Like
Right.
I see you going and speaking to these schools. I see you going and speaking to these different, individuals personally. So I think that is amazing. Like honestly, like I love what you're doing as far as like, I'm cool. Like ain't nothing wrong with me. Like no, but but nah, it's definitely a must and it's definitely necessary. And I just think that can't nobody do it better. And I ain't even trying to be hyped because he's my fiance, but he definitely does have a gift in regards to like getting people to open up and to be honest. Like if there's a lot of times where he'd be like, yeah, I was talking to such and such, and they talk to me, and he keeps the privacy or whatever. Like he don't go into detail, but me knowing the person, it's like, what? Like they talk to you? They opened up about some deep shit? Like seriously? So you definitely got a gift. So no other way or no better way to do it than to have people talk about what they going through. And helping them fix it.
Again, I want to make sure I say it on a public platform. I appreciate you. I love you. Thanks, you my rock. I appreciate it because
y'all hear that?
Yeah, she gonna play this back when I'm mad. Like, remember you said this.
You said this. Why you acting like that?
But you gotta give people they credit when credit is due, and I'm big on that. Like I gotta make sure people know because I tell it to my sister, I tell it to everybody that was there anytime that I can. Like, thank you, because sometimes people, like I said, I go with that feeling that people don't gotta do nothing. So anything like that anybody does, especially if I feel like it's well above and beyond, I'm going to be a humble servant and make sure I give them the gratitude and appreciate and show them the appreciation.
That you're appreciative and you people love you.
Yeah.
That's all it is. We just love you, players. That's it.
And on that note, follow the podcast, subscribe, share it with somebody. It helps a lot. Those are all the free things that you guys could do that it doesn't really require too much effort because y'all getting all my family business, my relationship business for free, and just sharing it and sending it out to somebody to let them listen and see if it can help them that you think they can help them. I greatly appreciate it. And remember that this platform, excuse me, let me clear my throat.
Child, you've been doing it all show. Okay.
This platform has never been about a replacement to therapy. And it's an alternative, and it's a place where people share therapeutic stories. Thank you for listening.
Goodbye.